You are probably eating something right now that your body has no idea how to handle. Not because the food is toxic, not because you made a bad choice, but because the machinery inside you, the digestive system, the hunger signals, the cravings, the taste preferences, was built for a world that no longer exists. A world where food was rare, unpredictable, and had to be earned through hours of physical effort. Your body is running ancient software on a completely different planet. And the mismatch between those two things is quietly driving some of the most confusing health patterns of the modern age. To understand what your body actually expects to eat, you have to go back. Not to the Mediterranean diet, not to the 1950s, back roughly 2 million years, to the long stretch of human prehistory that shaped nearly everything about your metabolism, your appetite, and your relationship with food. Evolutionary biologists call this period the environment of evolutionary adaptedness. It is the world your body was designed for, and almost nothing about your kitchen resembles it. Your ancestors were not farmers. Agriculture only appeared about 10,000 years ago, a blink of an eye in evolutionary terms. For the vast majority of human history, your ancestors were hunter-gatherers. They woke up without knowing what they would eat that day. Some days they found a large animal. Some days they found nothing. They ate roots, tubers, wild berries, leaves, insects, eggs, fish, and whatever meat they could hunt or scavenge. The diet was extraordinarily varied. It was also extraordinarily unpredictable. This unpredictability is the key to everything, because your body did not evolve for consistent, reliable, calorie-dense meals 3 times a day. It evolved for feast and famine. It evolved for long stretches of movement and effort, followed by occasional periods of abundance. And when abundance arrived, your ancestors' bodies did something absolutely critical. They stored as much of it as possible, as fast as possible, because there was no guarantee the next meal was coming anytime soon. That storage system is still running inside you. Every time you sit down to eat a meal that is larger than your immediate energy needs, your body does exactly what it evolved to do. It stores the excess. It does not matter that your refrigerator is full. It does not matter that your next meal is 6 hours away. Your body cannot see the refrigerator. It only knows the ancient rule. When food is available, absorb everything you can, because scarcity might be coming. The anthropologist Herman Pontzer at Duke University has spent years studying modern hunter-gatherer populations. Groups like the Hadza of Tanzania, one of the last remaining societies still living the way your ancestors lived. What he found was striking. Despite spending hours each day walking, digging, climbing, and hunting, the Hadza do not burn significantly more calories than sedentary people in industrialized countries. The body adapts. It compensates. It is far more interested in holding on to energy than in burning it freely. This matters because it tells you something important about exercise and diet that the modern fitness industry almost never says clearly. Your body is not a machine that burns predictably in proportion to the effort you put in. It is a survival system that fights to maintain its energy stores. When your ancestors exercised all day, their bodies did not reward them by becoming lean and efficient burners. They rewarded them by becoming better at conserving energy for the next shortage. But the food itself is where the real story lives. What did ancient humans actually eat? The short answer is everything they could find, in whatever proportions the environment provided. The longer answer reveals why your taste buds, your cravings, and your hunger signals behave the way they do today. Start with sugar. Your craving for sweetness is not a weakness. It is one of the most valuable adaptations your ancestors ever developed. In the wild, sweetness means ripe fruit. Ripe fruit means calories, vitamins, and energy at exactly the moment when it is most available. At the end of summer, before the long scarcity of winter. Your ancestors who craved sweetness most intensely were the ones most likely to eat enough ripe fruit before it disappeared. They survived. They passed that craving to you. The problem is that your body still reads sweetness as a signal for rare, fleeting, nutritious food. It has no mechanism to say, this sweetness is coming from a liquid engineered in a factory and will be available to you every minute of every day for the rest of your life. It just says, eat more. Now, the same logic applies to fat. Dietary fat is the most calorie-dense substance in nature. 9 calories per gram compared to 4 for protein or carbohydrate. For an ancestor who might go days without finding food, fat was a survival jackpot. The ability to find it, crave it, and eat as much of it as possible in one sitting was a direct advantage. Your body still carries that preference. It still registers fat as rare and precious, even when you are surrounded by it. And salt. For most of human history, sodium was genuinely difficult to find. The body needs it to function, and it was not reliably available in plant foods. So your ancestors evolved a strong, automatic preference for salty tastes. A preference that pulled them toward the rare mineral-rich foods, animal blood, coastal seafood, or mineral springs that could supply what their bodies needed. Today, sodium is in almost everything processed. Your craving for it did not evolve for a world of potato chips and canned soup. It evolved for a world where salt was precious and hard to find. The evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard has written extensively about what he calls mismatch diseases. Conditions that arise not because something went wrong with your body, but because your ancient body is responding correctly to a modern environment it was never designed for. Type 2. Diabetes is in part a mismatch. Obesity is in part a mismatch. Certain inflammatory conditions, certain metabolic disorders, these are not failures of willpower or character. They are ancient survival systems operating in a world that has changed faster than evolution can follow. Consider fiber. Your ancestors ate enormous amounts of it. Estimates from researchers like Jeff Sonnenburg at Stanford suggest ancestral diets may have included 5 to 10 times more dietary fiber than the average modern diet. This fiber fed a gut microbiome of extraordinary diversity, which in turn regulated inflammation, immune function, mood, and metabolic health in ways science is only beginning to understand. When you strip fiber from your diet, which modern food processing does systematically, you are not just removing roughage. You are removing the primary food source of an entire internal ecosystem that your body depends on. Consider also the pace of eating. Your ancestors did not eat quickly. A meal of roots, tubers, and tough animal flesh required time to chew, to process, to prepare. The satiety signals your body sends, the hormones leptin and ghrelin that tell your brain you are full, operate on a roughly 20-minute delay. Your body needs time to register what it has consumed. Modern processed food is engineered to be soft, fast, and hyper-palatable. You can consume enormous quantities of it before your ancient satiety system has even had time to send its first signal. By the time your brain says enough, you have already eaten far more than you intended. And yet, none of this means your body is broken. It means your body is incredibly well designed for a world that no longer exists. The cravings you fight, the hunger that returns faster than it should, the way your willpower seems to collapse in front of certain foods, these are not character flaws. They are ancient mechanisms doing exactly what they evolved to do in an environment those mechanisms were never meant to encounter. The researchers who study this convergence, people like Pontzer, Lieberman, Sonnenburg, are not telling you to live like a hunter-gatherer. That is neither possible nor necessary. But they are pointing towards something useful. The closer your diet is to the kinds of foods your ancestors actually encountered, the more your body's ancient signals align with your actual needs. More fiber, more variety, less engineered sweetness, fat, and salt in combinations that nature never produced, more time between meals, more movement built into daily life rather than compressed into a single gym session. Your body is not confused because something went wrong. It is confused because everything around it changed in 10,000 years, and your genome needed at least 10 times that long to catch up. You are carrying a body that expects to forage. You are feeding it in a world that delivers everything instantly, in quantities your ancestors could not have imagined, engineered to be as irresistible as possible. Tonight, when you open the refrigerator for the third time in 2 hours and stare inside looking for something you cannot name, your body is not broken. It is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It is scanning for the rare, the calorie-dense, the sweet, the fatty, the salty, the foods that for 2 million years meant survival. The refrigerator is full, but the ancient brain doing the scanning has no way of knowing that. It is still out there in the tall grass, looking for something worth eating before the sun goes down.